What's going on, guys? So if you watched my previous video from last week, which if you have not yet, definitely go watch it again, and I'll link in the description down below. If you did not watch that, that was my video on the journal Psychology published this thing about traits that may be harmful to young boys, and they listed like stoicism, aggression, dominance, and I forget the other one, but they mentioned 4 things which they called toxic masculinity, which actually are not all those toxic traits and traits that men need. So I wanted to go over that. And also in this video, I want to go over 4 more traits that are manly that men need, virtues men need. Let's face it, they are needed for boys to become men. So if that sounds good, drop me one of these. Make sure you do click subscribe and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss another upload. And guys, let's get into it. What's going on, guys? This is the first time you tuned into one of my videos. My name is Eric of the Saiyan Lifestyle. I make videos like this every single Wednesday and Saturday dedicated to helping guys like you become better men through fitness and self-improvement. Now, last video I made all about these 4 traits that the journal Psychology called harmful for young boys, and I listed them all in the previous videos, so definitely go watch that. Well, they're really not all that toxic, and I think that society's trying to label traditional masculinity as being toxic just because they're trying to make men better women. But let's get into these 4 virtues that make men men and that men need. So first off, where does the word virtue come from? Well, not only is society based on virtue, but men are based on virtue too. And actually, virtue comes from the Latin word virtus, which if you have not read Jack Donovan's Way of Men, I would definitely go check that out. That's probably one of the biggest books I recommend for men when it comes to becoming a better man or being good at being a man. This series is all about being good at being a man. So definitely go check out that book because he explains that virtue actually comes from virtus in Latin, which actually means manly strength or masculine energy. And that's what virtus meant, and that's where virtue came from. But now that we're done with the history lesson, I'm kind of a history buff, let's get into the qualities or the virtues that men need. Start off with the first one. The first one they need is mastery. And by mastery, I mean you develop a talent or skill and you become more proficient at it, or you work to become proficient at it. Like an example from my life, being a personal trainer, it required a lot of mastery. You had to constantly go to these workshops on the weekend. You had to constantly do different certifications. You had to constantly do a bunch of other things like reading a bunch of articles online in order to develop your mastery to help your clients better. Same thing when it comes to like a trade job. You have to go to a community college to learn electrician, plumber, carpenter, whatever it is. You should go there to learn that, or you just learn hands-on. You need to put in the time and effort to learn a skill and develop mastery at it. Because I believe the saying states that it takes about 10,000 hours to truly develop mastery at anything. And or become good at being a man, one thing Jack Donovan lists is that mastery is needed. Men look up to other men that have mastery. Like, think about it. The men that other men look up to, guys like James Bond, William Wallace, Indiana Jones, they have mastery over a certain area. And or even Batman, they have mastery over certain areas. Some is kicking ass from bad guys, others rescuing famous ancient artifacts from Nazis, and other is just being a badass and saving the world. Whatever it is, they develop mastery at a certain area. So they are manly because they develop that mastery. So men need to find a job or find something that they want to master and become skillful at it and take the time they need to master it. Since that skill is kind of missing from society today, that people are just jumping all over the place and they're just kind of jumping all over the place, which I mean, it's good to explore skills and make yourself better when it comes to certain areas, but there comes a time when you need to focus on one single area. Okay, I'm 24, so I'm still figuring out which area I want to focus on. You want to focus on a single area and master that. But it's also on mastering oneself. Second one is self-reliance. I know in the world today, it's kind of hard to be self-reliant because people are losing their jobs, they're not making enough money to really live on their own, they're struggling. And one thing you must do as a man, with that comes from mastery, is self-reliance. You must develop ways to be able to take care of yourself and live on your own. I know that can get a little bit hard when the economy kind of just takes a downturn, but maybe that shows you that you need to pick up side jobs or side incomes in order to become self-reliant. But self-reliant also means that you're not always seeking people to help you just figure out everyday shit. You don't need your parents to figure out how to do an oil change. You don't need to go to a mechanic to get your battery in your car changed, which I was actually kind of disappointed with how few guys in this world know how to change their own battery or even know how to change a tire on a car, but that's a story for another time. You need to have self-reliance, and this is like, you've all asked me about my political ideology. I'm a very hardcore libertarian, staunch Republican, so self-reliance and self-sufficiency for me it's huge. I don't want to have to live off anyone else. But being self-reliant doesn't mean that you don't ever ask for help. Yeah, you can ask for help at times. Like for me, when the lights, like they're staying on for right now, but they keep flickering on and off, well, that's an electrical problem. I am not trained to deal with that, and I'm probably going to cause damage dealing with that. So I will actually go and I will call an electrician to come into my house and fix that. We actually know electricians through our church. So that's not saying you don't ever ask for help. You can ask for help on certain things that you are not familiar with. Like, yeah, maybe you need to change the engine in your car. You need to do a huge change on your car. That's when you bring it to a mechanic because they have mastery in that area and they're going to help you out. But it can also be self-reliance with, you don't always need people to help you figure things out. You can figure things out for yourself. And really, that's what self-reliance means. You don't need anyone else to help you live. You can do it on your own. You don't need the help of others to basically be able to live. You can do that on your own. Number 3 is going to be discipline. Now, I know this is kind of a dirty word for these days, especially because disciplining kids can be seen as like the wrong or unethical, immoral thing to do, that you should not ever discipline your kids. But a true man has discipline. And discipline doesn't mean that it can also mean that you punish yourself when you don't do something right. But discipline also means that you are efficient when it comes to things. Because when it means being disciplined, that means you are getting up early. You are working out like you need to. You are working hard at your job when you are there. And then you are very disciplined with what you do during the day. And a lot of guys in society, they're really not disciplined. Actually, a lot of people aren't really disciplined in society. I can actually think of a few people that they're always waking up late. They have terrible time management, so they're never ready on time. And they just don't have any discipline anywhere in their life. They eat whatever the hell they want. They don't work out. So they're basically destroying, poisoning their body. And they just show absolutely zero discipline anywhere in their life. They just live a life full of pleasure. Not that pleasure is bad. It's okay in very small doses or very moderation. But you have to have discipline. And if you ever read the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, another book I'll link in the description down below, he talks about DEF, discipline equals freedom. And the more I started being disciplined in things, the more freedom I found I had. Like for me, when it came to creating YouTube videos, I thought I never had the time to create YouTube videos until I blocked out the time of my day by like the hour. I found out that, wow, I actually had a 4-hour time slot on the day where I could settle down and make YouTube videos. So being disciplined means that you are able to do what is needed, when it is needed, and you're going to be focused at that time. Like being disciplined in business, you are disciplined by knowing what you need to do in business in order to survive or to thrive. And no, discipline does not always mean that you're punishing yourself. Now, the 4th one is fight/defend yourself. Now, this is actually a quote from Dr. Jordan Peterson, a guy I really do admire, and I definitely recommend you all read his book, 12 Rules for Life. He says something along the lines of, like, a man who is not a good man cannot defend himself. A man who is a good man is like a very dangerous man, but he can control it. That's very true. Us men, we need to be dangerous. We need to be able to defend ourselves. I'm not saying like dangerous as in like you're doing reckless, stupid shit all the time and you're constantly risking your life, but I mean dangerous as in you can defend yourself. You know how to use a knife. You know how to use like a baton. You know how to use a gun. You know how to use your hand. Which if anyone follows Pat McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, definitely recommend watching his channel. He said that basically any weapon you have is going to be supplemental to your brain and your hands. So learning how to box, something I'm doing right now. I'm learning how to do it because, well, one, I like to, and it's kind of cardio-ish for me, just something I enjoy doing. But it's also a way for me to learn to defend myself, like how to throw a 1-2, how to hook, and I can't really do while I'm sitting down, but you know what I mean. Learn how to do all that so I can defend myself if I ever got into a fight or a physical altercation. Even learning things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, Krav Maga, karate, or boxing or UFC, anything like that. Learning how to defend yourself because, let's face it, the world isn't always a nice place. You need to learn how to be able to defend yourself, and be able to do that and be able to like use weapons, be able to proficient at using basic self-defense tactics. is going to make you a dangerous person, but you need to have that under control. You can't just let it go willy-nilly. You have to have that under control and to really be able to defend yourself and become dangerous. So a man, he is also dangerous because he knows how to use weapons. He knows how to defend himself, his girlfriend, his wife, his family. He knows all that. So that was it for the video, guys. So let's go over what the other 4 virtues are that make a man. Mastery, self-reliance, discipline, and fight/defend. And those are the 4 that you need to develop in order to become a better man. And if you want me to make more of these videos, all you gotta do is drop me one of these and let me know in the comment section down below if there are any more videos you want me to cover. Also, let me know in the comment section down below. And guys, also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and definitely check out my Facebook group if you have any questions and want to join a group of like-minded men. I'll see you there. Guys, I'll see you in the next video. Until then, Saiyans, let's get